Good evening and welcome to Here's the Life with Zemrah and, of course, my better half, Ed. And we are always so happy to be on our platform talking about different issues. And we haven't, with everything going on, it's been kind of crazy. I mean, really crazy. But we want to talk a little bit this evening about listening, the value of listening.
What was that?
The value of listening. Are you listening to whoever you're speaking with? Are you understanding where one might be coming from? But the main thing is people miss it because you're always so busy trying to think about what you're going to say until you don't really and truly listen. So that's what we want to talk a little bit about. So, Ed, how do you
Yes.
find, because you listen, but you don't listen, you're one that hears what you want to hear, which a lot of us are guilty of that. Yes, and most men, that's one of the things. I'm so sorry that Pam isn't here. But anyway, that's one of the things that um, I know that a lot of sisters have a problem with, or a lot of women, period, though. I'm not going to just narrow it down to us. That men just do not listen. And it's always a thing, unfortunately, where men tend to not really want to listen to their women. And I think that by us always being having your back, being your strength, that sometimes you miss it when you don't listen to us, because you'll be surprised how many blessings a man miss when he doesn't really listen to his woman.
Talk some.
But
Go ahead.
but
Go
I'm
ahead.
talking
Tell,
now,
tell us.
and I'm
Tell
going to
us.
ask you, but I'm talking about just listening, period, and the value of listening. And you're a big thing on listening, although you don't always listen. But that is something that you do understand the value of it. So explain to us.
What you say, I understand the value of. I just don't practice it.
There you go. So what do you understand the value of listening? All jokes aside, Ed, because this is really an important subject, I think. I mean, on both ends. It's important that women listen, but I'm talking about in general, listening is very important. And if you don't listen, you miss it. This is for
Well,
young people too.
listen is a priority in any type of relationships or endeavor that you must listen because that's why you have two ears and only one mouth. So you should listen twice as much as you speak. If you are speaking and all you hear is your voice, you are talking too much. And when you hear someone else speak, do you hear yourself talking at the same time? Because you should shut up and listen. And listening is a vital part of anybody integral growing up or evolving into the person that you want to be. You, in order to learn anything, you have to learn how to listen, which is the first thing that that one of the things that said in the Bible was, "Hear, O Israel." And we don't listen because all the information that you need in life is in the universe and it comes to you. You ask for it and it comes to you. But when it comes to you, at the time, you're not listening because you don't like where it's coming from. You don't like the sound where it's coming from. You don't like who it's coming from. But it's the same information that you need, but you can't hear it because it's not coming in the form or in the vibration that you can accept. So therefore, you need to practice listening to everybody. He said you should listen to everyone because you could even a fool would tell you something you don't know.
Right.
If you, 'cause so it doesn't matter how much you know. Person might not know much, but they might know exactly what you need to know,
Or what you need to hear.
what you need to hear. So therefore, you should listen to everyone. I listen to everybody. I pretend like I don't know anything. That's the best way to go through life. Just pretend you don't know, or ask the person something you do know, and just see what they have to say about it. But in order for them to listen, you have to stop trying to think about your answer before they finish talking, which is what most people do. While your lips are moving, they are thinking about their response, not thinking about what you are saying because they don't hear nothing you're saying because it's not in the form that they're ready to uh, absorb. They can't hear it because it's not coming. And most times, women don't talk in a vibration that men is acceptable to them on that level.
So what is acceptable? If
It's
you,
it's 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 it's, uh, it's hard to say because women talk on a different level. They talk on a different vibration. They talk on a different volume. And when men hear that, some men automatically shut down. They hear the sounds, but they're not listening to the substance of what you're saying because they're just trying to hurry up and get you to stop.
and the reason being, and with all honest, the reason being is because you really don't want to hear what they have to
No,
say.
no, you want to hear what they got to say. It's just not coming in the form. You have somebody tell you something, and it just doesn't resonate. Then somebody else can tell you the same thing, and you listen, go, "Oh, I never heard that before." And the person that told you that 10 times, but you weren't ready to hear it then. Same thing, same answer to your question, but it came from somebody else on a different vibration. Same answer, but they heard that, but they didn't hear you. And then you get angry. You can go like, "I've been telling this person that for years, and they won't listen to me because it had to come at a different vibration." So one thing you have to do, especially if people learn this in sales, you have to study your opponent, your guest. You have to study your partner. You have to study the person you're talking to, and try to get on the frequency on which they are expressing themselves, and get on that same frequency, because that's the level that they will start to hear you. So you will study them, and they call it mirroring. In other words, I'm sitting here talking to you, and I'm listening to how you talk. I'm listening to your cadence. I'm listening to your volume, and I try to get down there where you are, or up there where you are, so that you will hear me, not just for me to express what I got to say or try to impress you with my knowledge, but I want you to listen to what I'm saying. In order for you to listen to what I'm saying, I have to talk in terms which you will receive it. And in order to do that, I must study you and find out on what level will you listen. That's the hardest thing in the world to do to human beings, is to get them to listen. The church has been talking about getting people to listen for thousands of years, saying the same thing, and they still will not listen. And you can say it today that people would be much better off if they only, not that they didn't know the answer to all your problems out here, but we're not listening to them. We're just not listening. Don't you know peace is powerful? They go, yeah, I believe that. But everything you do is to the contrary. Everything you do and say is to the contrary, because you act as if you don't love peace. You don't, and you love violence. Oh, no, I'm not violent, but everything in your life is. Everything you do and say is reference to that. So how do you say you're not? You say one thing, but you do another.
Absolutely. So
And
you're not practicing what you preach.
so whatever you do is who you are, not what you say. So listening is the first step into anyone's uh, salvation. If you could only listen half as much as you talk, everything that you need will be given to you. If you ever sit long enough and just listen. Even if you don't like the conversation, if you don't like the stuff, you don't like it, just listen to what the people are saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I think that's what's important. That's why I said what I said when I said as far as women and men,
But
and men, because you just said it's vibration, but
yeah,
even with the
women don't study you to get you to listen. They don't study. They could care less about you.
but that's not always
I
the
mean, it's
case.
not always the case, but most of the time,
And so,
they just want to get their opinion out there. Period. Because they have to be right. And sometimes they tell you, I know I'm right. But you being right is not the point.
so
The point is, how can I get this person to actually listen to what I'm saying? Not just me to say it or to impress somebody about my knowledge of the subject and what I know. Because people don't care about what you know. They really don't until they know how much you care. That's what they really want to know.
but if you have a, but I'm saying that if you have if a man has a mate, you already know that they care.
No, it's not necessarily. And you know better than that. People just because they have a mate don't mean they care. That means you got a mate.
Well, now that's true.
That's all that means. It
Yeah.
means that, and how you got that mate is questionable because you got it without listening. Because the person would tell you who they are, but
If you believe it.
but you weren't listening, and you ignored it at the time. So, and which is what most of the majority of people do in their relationships. They don't listen to the person. The person will tell them exactly who they are. People always tell you who they are, but when they told you who they were, you weren't listening, or you didn't believe what they were saying. They could say it to it multiple times, and when anytime somebody repeats something, it's probably true. They'll tell you that two or three times, but
Yeah.
you ain't listening. And most of the time, this is where most of our problems come in life is that we were not listening. And even down to the still small voice inside your head, which never lies to you, never lies. It always tells you the truth. We just don't want to hear the answer. So we ignore it. Don't do that. Don't hang with this person. Don't marry this person. Don't do this. But we do it anyway because we're not listening. And if we, and especially now, listen, we don't, you're not even hearing. Definitely hearing. Hearing means that you move on the knowledge that you would just receive. They're here, but they're not going to change. And if you're not going to change, can't get better. Nothing can get better if you do not change. Change should be something that is inevitable, sought after, but you've been taught don't change. And be proud of the fact that you have not changed, which is totally
Where did you get that someone's been taught not to change?
because the society teaches you that.
In what way?
Because they tell you and preach you in church, God never changes. He's the same, same, same. That's a lie. That is not true. Everything in the universe changes every second. Everything in the universe. And there are no two things that are exactly alike. No two molecules, microbes, humans, nothing. No stone, no grain of glass, no two snowflakes. Everything is different. The diversity is what you celebrate. It's the sameness of difference. It seems a it seems like a contradiction, but it's not. Everything is the same, but they're different. A flower is a flower, but they come in many colors, many shapes, many uh, many stems, many everything. They look different, but they're the same thing. Every piece of bark on the tree is different, but it's the same tree. Every human looks different. They could be an alien from another planet. If you look at them looking long enough, you'll see the difference in each one. You see, how could they come from the same cell? But scientists have proven every person on the planet is related. Scientific had done studies, years and years of study on DNA across the world, and found out that every person on the planet is related. But we can't see that. And we teach the opposite, that you're different. And the difference is what keeps you from progressing. And they know that because those in control will magnify the differences where there really isn't any differences. We're only one person. We are one. There's only one of us.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, well, that's the way I see it. That's the way I see the world. That's the way I see people. That's the way I figure out who is who by letting them know that we're all part of the same group. No matter what you look like, you're the same person. Because spirits don't have any visual aspects. They are the same. And you are mostly a spiritual person having a physical experience, which will end one day and then you go back to being a spirit. But you won't know that until you are no longer here and you are someplace else.
So then, since everybody's the same, then that's why I guess
No, that's why you should treat a person
the way
at,
you want to be treated.
because they are you.
That makes
Treat the
sense.
person like they are you. Because,
Well, I've always thought that you should always treat
but
people like you want
actually,
to be
they
treated.
are you. They're different expressions of you. So everybody you see is a female expression, a male expression, tall, short, different expression of you in different forms, but the same. That's the dichotomy of the universe. Everything that seems opposite is basically the same. If you go that way and somebody goes that way, you wind up in the same place eventually, because the universe is round, or what they say, oval shaped or dish
So
shaped.
then, if a person understands that, then that means that it's almost like I am a reflection of you. You are a reflection of me.
Exactly. That's a statement. It's a phrase, it's a thing that people say, but they don't know the deeper meaning of it.
But if you understand that, then again, if a person understands that, then going right back to the fact, if you understand the person, then why is it so difficult for people to listen to one another?
Because they don't understand the person. They don't understand who the person is. They don't understand the relationship to the person to you. They say it, but they don't believe it and they don't understand it. But it makes a good soundbite, but they don't believe it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do what you do and you wouldn't think the way you think if you actually believe that. See what I'm saying?
Mm.
If you cannot, if I can't rationalize that you are me, then I would automatically do things to you that are harmful. But if I actually believe that you are related to me, there's so much, there's nothing you can do to change that. So therefore, I will understand that, and there's certain things I could not do to you. It'd just be impossible for me to do that. So by the world being the way it is against one another, like the war we got going on, killing their neighbors and people, bodies all in the street, if we thought that that person was another expression of us, we couldn't do that. And so this is on a highly evolved level of humanity.
Yeah, it is because that's not happening because you got families doing that to one another.
Right. But that's not on a high evolved level.
Right.
If you want to believe that other societies that are highly developed, they don't understand that. They look at this planet and go like, how can they do that? If they know who they really are, if they related like we are to ourselves, we would never think about harming another person because it's pointless. It's not going to change anything. You can't fight over land that don't belong to you. The earth's been here for millions of years. You don't own anything. You just stewards of the same place. You take care of it and pass it on to the next generation, but you don't own anything. You ain't even own your own life. You don't own it. You're supposed to take care of it and pass it on and evolve to the next stage and pass that on to the next generation. That's your job. But to kill someone and wipe out the whole family and blow up the whole city, that wouldn't make sense to you. Now, if you was an alien looking at our country, at our world, you go like, that's stupid. It would be to them. They go like, we can't help you guys. You're too violent. You believe in murder is your entertainment. It's on your TV. It's in your games. It's the best movies on TV, the ones where they kill these 10 people in the first half hour. And it's nothing. And think about it, when you back in the day, you used to approve of this when you were a kid because it was hero worship. You see the cowboys coming down and shooting all the Indians, killing them and their kids, you start cheering, didn't you?
I didn't.
I mean, well, that's what that's what we did as boys. When the cavalry came in and the Indians came around, they started shooting and killing them by the droves because they had
Oh
arrows
yeah.
and they had Winchester rifles and they killed them all. The whole auditorium, all the kids would get up and shout and wave and everything and talk about, here comes the cavalry, yay! Now everybody's all proud, right? Here come the flag, and then here go the Indians dying by the thousands. And we cheered. So we taught ourselves that. So the rest of the universe looks at us as a very undeveloped, uncivilized bunch of kids, which is why they call us the planet of children. Because we are young, we just that young. And we still do the same thing now. We think killing one another prove something. It doesn't. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't change anything.
No, it makes things even more devastating,
Well, it
if
makes you want to go
anything.
out. You kill. You kill my dog. I kill your cat.
Yeah.
It never ends. So we don't have a good understanding of who we are. And if you did, you wouldn't do the things you do. You can't say one thing and do something else. So we if we listen to the universe would tell you. But we don't listen to that because we're not still long enough. We respond
Oh
and
yeah, the hustle and bustle and
we
everything of everyday
respond.
living
Yeah,
and
we respond on an emotional basis. The universe is not emotional. It works off facts. Work on cause and effect. Something blows up here. Something grows over here. This planet merges with this planet, get to close to its gravitational field, drawn together and explodes and creates a whole nother universe. It's not emotional. It's about things that happen on a factual basis, elements that collide. You, as a total universe unto yourself, because that's what you are. You are the universe, another planet circling around other planets that has broken yourself into many pieces, but you're part of the same whole. That's what people are. They think they're separate. They think they're different, but they're not different. They're the same person. There's only one of us.
spoken by a true one of us. So what is your take on what happened at the Grammy? I mean at the Oscars.
Oh, wow. There's a lot of things that are indicative of human life that doesn't get my attention because it doesn't mean a whole lot.
Because you don't pay attention and listen to any of that.
No, on purpose. I mean, what does it mean? It means that Will was trying to defend his lady because he shouldn't have made a crack about his wife on the air. If they were in a friendly group or in a social circumstance together, and he said that, probably nothing would have been said. But since the whole world heard it and the whole world reacted to it, he felt he should do something. I guess. I hate to think it was all staged. If it was, it worked.
No, it wasn't. That definitely wasn't staged.
Okay, then I understand it.
You understand why?
That I would have did the same thing. Probably not.
No, you would have
Well,
not.
probably not to that extent. I'd wait
And
till
I would have
I,
not wanted you to
I
do
probably wait
something
till I
like
got out in
that.
the parking lot.
Yeah, I would have not even
I would
wanted you to do
I would have
anything
got him
like
in the.
that.
I would. Well, it ain't about what you want. It's about what men do. I would have caught him in the
But
parking
all
lot.
men didn't agree with that.
I don't. It's okay. No, all men never agree to nothing. I've never known all men agree with anything. You know what they did to Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah, all men didn't. Matter of fact, I think the majority of men and women saw that as not being
Of course not. It's fine. You can't condone that.
right.
You can't condone hitting nobody. Even if that's what you would do, you can't condone it. I wouldn't condone myself doing it, but I do it. Let a joker say something strong wrong to me and see. Yeah. If I didn't, I would definitely threaten him and let him know that I will.
No, you wouldn't,
Yes, I
Ed.
would. Well, I'm sorry. Anytime you train me to go kill people, give me a license to feel that way.
Okay.
So as a military man, that's what I was trained to do. Let me show the different kind of ways to kill somebody. And they train, that's what they train soldiers for. Then when they get home, they try to turn it off. They say, okay, you sit down, you can't protect your community. You said, why not? I protected yours. That's what the detective told me. I said, gangs are taking over my street, I'm gonna do something about it. Well, you can't do anything. I said, watch me. I said, you crazy? You want me to go protect this gonna be some little yellow people in a rice paddy 10,000 miles away? You tell me I can't protect my neighborhood because you don't want me to do it? I said, have you lost your mind? I said, follow me and see what happens. Because I'll tell you where they are, and they will not be around here much longer. And so I got the community together and a couple of men, well, many of them, but real men, two or three at least.
that would listen.
Yeah, but
So
yeah,
do you think that men listen to men?
no, depends on the men. But then you have to use the term men loosely, because men are not all men as you make is your definition of them all. Because there might be males and females, but they're not men and women.
So what is your definition of a man?
What God said when He formed you from the dust of the earth and breathed life into you and called you man, that means you were subservient and obedient to the rules of life. Now, if you're not that, then you're not a man. Not a real one. You evolved as one, you fallen from that stature according to those rules, but you're coming back. You can't, you can't, there's certain things you can't do to a real man. In order for us to be taken into slavery, we had to be reduced. Manhood taken from you. Otherwise, nobody could do that.
That's true.
You burn the ship. I mean, it just wouldn't happen. We die first. And a lot of them did. The ones who were real men, they would kill themselves first. Before they allow you to disgrace them like that,
Disrespect them.
do that, they would die first. And everybody would understand that. But you can't teach the world by using these kind of people, so these kind of people have to be reduced. Because you can't use those kind of people. They would not go along with it. So we had to reduce them down. And the only person that can do that is God.
On that note, we're going to hear a little bit of Zemrah. Love is possible, and it is. We're back here at IntellectualRadio.com
Mm-hmm.
with Zemrah and her better half, Ed. And want you to make sure that you like us on Facebook, and don't hold it to my heart when I'm not always on Facebook. I work full time. I got so much stuff going on, but I love my Facebook family, and got a lot of things going on. But just keep your eyes open. I got some sweet things coming up.
Please stand by.
Yes, that's a good one. Stand by. Our producer, Earl, just said he would like to know how I would have handled the situation if Ed had a went up and slapped someone. And I guess
You talking about the Will Smith and the
yeah, in my support, I would have not wanted you to do that. I would have wanted you to handle it in a way where even when you got up, it's like when he got up to make his speech or whatever, that would have been the time to say, look, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this, a little later. We'll get this together out, after everything is over. I would have not wanted that and I would have not really even let you get up and do that.
Oh, you
I
would
would have
stop me?
not bet. Yes, I would have.
How you gonna stop
Well,
me?
you know, incident.
When
No,
you don't know what I'm gonna do, how you gonna stop me?
because I know you,
Uh,
and that's the key to knowing. To knowing again when we talk about your mate and knowing your mate, like uh, the situation where I was invited to so vegetarian to
you talking about the celebration that you invited to
yeah.
be recognized and nobody recognized you?
Well, it wasn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
brought there, and then you were going to go and mention it,
yeah.
and I said
I was.
no, and I didn't want you, and I stopped you from doing that
Yeah, well,
because it's some things you just kind of, you leave alone. And if you want to talk to someone on the side or whatever, then that's when you do that. But to do that in public, like you running up to defend or to whatever, I thought that that was not. I didn't see that as being in support of or whatever, because first of all, I think what happened, especially if I saw that you laughed in the beginning, that's what I would have definitely, if you laughed or smirked, then and then I've got to bring that to your attention or say something to you about that, then no, I would have not wanted you to get up and do anything.
well, I grew up on the west side,
It would not have anything to do with
and
that.
I've seen people laugh, smirk, and get cut
Yeah.
for doing it.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Before they cut you, they laugh
Yeah.
because you had done something horrific. And it's okay, or funny, huh?
Yeah. Well, that to me, if it was what made it unfunny all of a sudden, that's what I didn't
Well,
understand. You laughed in the first place, so then what made it unfunny? So no, just to make a long story short, I would have not wanted you to do that. I would definitely would have wanted you to handle it in a way where it was with still dignity on your part, because that comes where we always talk about self-security too. And I just would have not. First of all, it was a lot of distasteful jokes as far as I'm concerned that evening that could have been offensive to a lot of people. So it just depends on where your head is and what you heard when we talk about listening, what you heard and what you received from it. And then it comes to when you really know people. Well, if you're a comedian and then you have a comedian that makes a comment like that, but if you know your comedian friend or whatever, um you would have not really and truly took it necessarily that personal. But it wasn't right because of the whole thing and the way it was done. I think in the very beginning, as far as the laughing that took place in the beginning when it was first said. So what changed you to the point where you would want to get up and do that?
Well,
To
see, like I said, we don't know the whole circumstance about everything. We weren't there, and we didn't know what was said
No, we were
prior
there. We
to.
were sitting at home watching
Yeah,
it,
but
where they cut the
I
TV,
don't even know
cut
I
everything
don't know how
down.
hard he hit him. I don't know.
Well, you
How,
heard it when they first started
well,
talking
I didn't
about it.
see. You saw
After, well,
you saw
you
most
didn't
of.
you didn't watch it,
No, I didn't watch it. I
so
didn't.
then
I
I
don't
can't ask
know.
you nothing. Be quiet. Then.
See, because there are some circumstances where I could understand doing it because you have to sometimes let people know what are these certain there are repercussions behind certain activities and certain behavior. There's a price to be paid for that, and sometimes you have to let people know the ultimate price is that you will get hurt. I mean, I don't condone it, but I've been trained to do that. So, so
Yeah, but
I,
you're not. It just
I,
depends too, because you're not a violent person. So
no,
that had, although you've
but
been trained, that was in the field of being
no,
in
no,
the
I've
army or
had some
whatever.
circumstances when people had to get their hands laid on because they asked for it,
Yeah,
and it was to me it was totally necessary
yeah,
just to send a message. There's certain things you don't say and do to me. Period. I
yeah,
don't care who you call the police is not going to help you. So therefore, I understand that more so than maybe some other people wouldn't take it that way. But I understand it. Which is why America has that same attitude. You do certain things in certain ways to certain people, they will send the army out there to blow you up. So there's a methodology and there's a uh, spirit behind that, and I understand that. And they can't say it's wrong because they train people to do that every day. If they get out of line over here or they do a certain thing, they cross this line, we come and get you. You can't say I'm going. In our position, we don't have the authority to do that. We have to protect ourselves individually. Growing up in this country, we had to defend ourselves on an individual basis every single day.
Well, you still do really,
We
because
have
with
to
all the
because you
carjacking and
can't
all
call
the shootings and all of that,
well,
we all, men and women, we have to be mindful and watchful of all of that.
mindful is one thing, but growing up in society where you're marginalized and put down and taken advantage of, you have to defend yourself the best way you can on a daily basis. So I'm accustomed to doing that, and I know what that's like on an individual level. I can't call people to help me. Police will kill you. We understand that too. So you can't call the police. Can't trust them. That's what we were taught. That's what we lived. You had nobody to teach you that. You knew that from the beginning, from Jump Street.
Now you're talking from way back when, and we're
that
still
is,
going through that today.
Yesterday. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. It ain't way back when.
No, I'm saying, but because back there it wasn't as bad as it is now. Your policeman was your protector and your friend. I mean,
Who told
they
you that?
looked out.
Where do you live?
I mean, I'm talking about back in the day, Ed. You didn't have the kind of fear of calling the police as
They
back
did.
then as
You
now.
didn't. Of course you didn't. I did. Of
As a
course.
man, you're saying.
No, shoot. You can e- you can even get the police to come around to protect you. If you had a situation where you were in danger, if you call the police, they might not show up. You could tell them there's a body in the street. It might be an hour or so later they might show up. Especially in my neighborhood.
Okay, so again, we're talking about neighborhood. That makes
Society,
a
period.
difference.
I grew up on the west side, so well, man just got shot. Yeah, okay, we were right there. No. So I don't know what you're talking about. So we didn't. It went back then. We knew police was not your friend back then. It just come to the forefront because everybody got a phone. They can photograph this stuff. They can film it, and which is the only way the rest of the world even believes it.
Well,
But
maybe I guess yeah, okay, because maybe
it's been going on.
I don't
It's been going
really
on
recall having
it's been going on for hundreds of years.
many
They
incidents.
kill
So
1,000 black
I don't
men a
remember
year in
really having an
America.
incident where the police
Police
had to
kill
be called.
1,000 men in America. All statistically reported that police kill 1,000 black men a year.
You know, it probably was a couple of times with the characters that I was involved with. Probably I should have been calling the police.
Oh God.
But otherwise, I didn't really. I mean, there were incidents where I probably needed to.
Okay,
But
all right.
yeah,
Whatever. But things are going to get better. The more aware people are when they talk about it, which is what I'm really proud of today, is the people are really speaking up, especially women speaking up.
yeah, women. That's why I say when that's why I don't. That's why I was saying that it's important to listen to women because
it's
they
important to
have a
listen.
voice.
Period.
I understand that, but I'm saying the strength and the power that women carry, it's very, very good for men to listen to what they have to say.
Especially if they talk together. If they get along together, they communicate because they communicate in one way, you communicate in the other, and together it's powerful.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Because that's the way it should be.
Yes.
Women can say things in one way that's more effective than you.
Yes.
Like if I want certain things done, I tell you to talk to the people instead
Always.
of me
Yeah.
because I know what I'm gonna say. So and I know you know how to do it.
Right.
You say things in a tone that people will listen to.
Yes, I do. You got to speak up and
To me,
be firm and let
like
them know this is what I mean.
see,
And
to me, they might get defensive, you know, because then they'll know that you're not a threat that I might be.
that what?
That I might be, and you're not. But
Well, I don't know about that now because women now when they get the job
you're
done.
easier to get the job done without, them feeling physically threatened.
Oh, okay, Ed.
Because when you get to run your mouth,
Yeah, because
things change.
that's right. When we get this, things do change, and that really is the truth.
It takes a woman's voice. That's what I say about that vibration. Sometimes it takes that.
That's right.
And sometimes it takes a man's vibration. So therefore, whenever there's a woman's vibration needed, that's when I know the difference. So therefore, I know I can't handle this. I let Zim do it.
That's right.
Because you call the people
And get the job done. That's what we do.
Okay.
That's what Wanda B do too, though, Sherry. And when a man can recognize that the female gets it done, then that's where you become applauded. Yes. So we got some great shows coming up with some great guests, and we're going to Dr. Suni. We've been bringing her back, but she's
Dr.
had a
Suni,
few.
Yeah, she got a cure for everything.
Had a few things going on, but she will be joining us this month. And then we have, of course, Pamela should be here with us next week, talking about again relationships and relationships with young people, with men, and some other good stuff. And
how to get along with yourself.
Yeah, and that's important too, how to know and get along with yourself. You know that's very, very important to know yourself. And then so we got some other great guests. We have I'm really excited about getting Dr. Gwendolyn Odom.
Oh yeah, Doc.
The vice president of Trinity is going to join us too. So we just have to nail down a date with her, and real excited about her coming to talk about how she has really and truly made a difference at Trinity Hospital on East 93rd. Yeah. Yes. And so we got some great things coming up. Again, I'm working on some things with my music, and all I can say right now is just stay tuned. But we got some great things coming up.
Stay tuned.
So we're here every Tuesday from 6 to 7, unless we got some other things going on, and we do. So when we're not here, we're still keeping it moving, and we just ask our producers to play my music. Again, check me out, Love is Possible, on all of your streamings. And we ask that you make comments on our shows. If you have any suggestions of things that you want to hear, again, we use this platform to bring you informative information that you can hopefully use when it comes to your vitamins, your very being. And that's what we pride ourselves in, and hoping that we give you a lot of food for thought that makes your week. And just tell your friends and family to check out Here's the Life with Zemrah here at Intellectual Radio. We hope you enjoyed our segment on listening. And men, we want you to listen a little bit more on listening.
What?
And we want you men out there to listen a little bit more of what your women have to say. Don't take it lightly. Don't bypass it. We are your backbone and your strength. We really are. And we love you a lot. You got it?
Way to go, guys. I was trying to tell the fellas, go ahead and listen. It's not going to hurt. Try it.
That's right.
Just don't take everything too seriously, all right? Just listen.
Thanks for joining us this evening.
I want to thank Earl and Wanda for this wonderful edifice, for allowing us to be myself again.
Hi, Wanda B. We love you and miss you.
Love is possible. Love is possible.